home, let's say you've been away from the grow for a while, you have a fresh nose, walk around your grow space, whether it's inside, if you're having it, I used to have exhaust that would go outside, and those are ultra important to check to see if there's any odor coming through. I had some people that didn't grow, had a very sensitive nose that would catch odor that I had no idea was happening since my carbon filter was starting to just need this time for replacement.
Yeah, when you're trying to figure out if you have a dank going around in your house, if you have a mother-in-law, ask her. She's going to find it immediately. Whereas you're going to get nose blind to it. If you're in just like you can't smell, like some people will stink and have body odor and they're not aware of it, that's you. You smell like the dank every time you come in and out of your grow. So you get a little bit of nose blind to it. So make sure you get away, like the dude said. If you're coming home from work, that's a great time. Or if you have someone that doesn't smoke, doesn't grow, mother-in-law is a great nose blind. They'll find the smell leaks in there for you.
Real quick examples of how intense this smell can be. In my garage smells like the dank, right? I don't always use a carbon filter. I'm not in prohibition land. I don't always concerned. I have had one neighbor comment. For me, as like all your growers, as you get closer to harvest, the stinkier it gets. So getting closer to harvest, things are going to stink. I've even had my sons, this is a weird one, caught me by surprise, mountain bike, go into the shop to be repaired. And those guys know what weed smells like. And they're like, hey, your kid's bike smells like the dank. It's like, what? And that's simply because it's sitting in a garage. It's constantly getting dank smell on it. So be careful with all that clothes. Things absorb odor, and then you're not going to catch it. And then lastly, when you do get close to the end of flower, last 2 weeks, last week, last 3 weeks, this is sometimes when your odor can be stronger than your current carbon filter to handle the whole grow. Trimming is the most stinky part of any grow. I always run an extra, if I need to, have an extra smaller carbon filter on hand that can sit right by the trim party you're having. I've had somebody come to my house from 3 blocks away. They were riding a bike. They're like, dude, I could smell this weed. Like, they're almost like, you guys stink. I had to run to the grow store. So be careful towards the end of flowering, and be careful when you're trimming. Extreme points that can be high odor.
And one of the last things about the carbon filtration is I want to make sure that maintenance is a huge part of this, because it's, like dude said, it's a porous material, surface area, so you want to make sure that it's spread out. Little pockets can form. So when you have your pre-filter on there, and you do want your pre-filter to get all that stuff on there, it'll start getting thick. So you want to make sure that you don't get it too dirty. It'll start creating weird channels, and it just won't filter the air properly. So maintain a good clean pre-filter, and also watch your humidity. Carbon, as it starts to get damp in there, you will have a clumping. This is a super fine powder that's all packed in there, and if it gets damp, it'll start to clump. Once again, you'll start getting channels, and it just won't scrub that air as well as we're going to want, dude.
Good tips. Let's move on. Light leaks. Don't be a glowing target. I like it. I've been a glowing target in Colorado, although I was legally growing outside with a timer malfunction with lights that I had outside. I had a 1,000-watt HPS bulb going on at 10 o'clock at night, and it looked like a UFO
it's like
was
the
landing.
National Lampoon's Christmas at dude's house.
So, but for real, window light leaks can be huge. Typically, you should be catching your light leaks. If you're growing in the house, if you're growing in a bedroom, you don't want that window obviously to be open in any way. So you want to make that kind of a fake window. Draw the blinds, put the curtains down, and then over that, I've seen everybody use people from cardboard. I personally like foam board, the foam insulation board. It's easy to cut, it's easy to work with. Heaven forbid your solar's intense enough that they use infrared or try to look into windows. I mean, in a regular grow room window, it would just be glowing red. So if you do need to block that potential, use foam board. Let your eyes adjust when you go outside. Look around everything really well. And inside too, right? Even your tent or your grow room.
That's a huge one. Letting your eyes adjust. Just like we were talking about being nose blind from being all covered in the dank, your eyes aren't adjusted. So if you go into your grow room, sit in there for 5 or 10 minutes, hang out, let your eyes go, and you'll be amazed at what you can see. Just like if you walk out from your house into a moonlit night, it's very dark at first, but after half an hour of being out there, all of a sudden you see, whoa, it's so bright in here. That's a huge one. And then also, dude's point about the foam board, I like that. He kind of hinted at it. It's the forward-looking infrared, that is the FLIR cameras. And so not just the police, but rippers, people that are monitoring for your harvest. So it's another reason to use LED lights. Just keep all that IR and all that heat bottled into your house. They'll let the world know.
We covered that on our other show, Dude Grow Show. There was
the police
couple
looking at you.
they were going around, and they were finding
real out here in
grows,
them streets.
yeah, straight up with the infrared. And